Hi, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience, my short-time experience with a Chevy Bolt. I actually live in North Dakota, but I bought this car in Utah at Gus Paulus Chevrolet there in Utah. And the reason being is that this car was on sale there. It's an LT model, and it was about $3,000 off MSRP, and they had a special on through Costco, and I was the very first person to buy a Bolt at that dealership in Salt Lake City. Well, it's actually in West Valley, I think, West Valley City. And when I got there, it was milder temperatures, and so when we charged up the car, it would actually say 225 miles, I think, when we did a full charge. But some of the things I've learned recently is in this cold weather, which is minus 20 degrees right now, quite warm, not quite cold here in North Dakota. And that's not with a wind chill. Wind chill is like 30 below, something like that, and that's Fahrenheit. I found out the efficiency of the car, being that I just drove to a town that's 75 miles away, at Grand Forks, North Dakota. The dealerships are now required that sell Bolts to hook up a DC quick charger. And unfortunately, I went down there and I thought, because well, you can see it's at 87% on hilltop mode. That's 106 miles, and it's 75 miles there and 75 miles back, plus the miles you drive around the city. That is not enough range to make a round trip in this temperature. And when I did it a few days ago, it was minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I stopped at the Chevy garage. You have to go inside and say, I need to plug in. And guess what? They didn't. They had an electrician install it. And he says, we were waiting for the first person to come in here and hook it up. And so I hooked up the DC quick charger, and nothing happened because the electrician did not put a fuse in the fuse box. So there was no power to it. So I didn't quite get to see it. And I thought, oh, crap. Well, there's two level 2 chargers. One at the Nissan dealer, and thank goodness his is on the outside. So I went over there and said, hey, the Chevy garage is not working, can I plug in? They said, yeah. So they had to move a vehicle because nobody seems to recognize that there's a charger there and they shouldn't park. But anyway, I plugged in and I decided to go for a walk, and I was gone for 3 hours, and so I got back and I had a 120 mile range because it was a little bit warmer than it is now. So at this temperature, that 106 miles is probably pretty darn accurate. That's as far as you could go on an 87% charge. And how I set it to 87% is that, this focused, is that you go to energy settings here, more detail here. Energy settings, and I have it set on hilltop mode for home only. So if you click on that, you can decide to go on or home only, which I would only want, or not away, because when I'm away I want a full charge, but at home hilltop mode is about 87%. So it's very efficient, but you keep in mind that right now I don't know it's 20 below zero because it's warm in the car. The heat seater's on. It doesn't show it's on, but it's definitely on. I sure feel it. So I have it set at 74 degrees. But my impression of the car is that I think every time I drive this car, I'm truly amazed that you can drive a car with batteries. And up here it probably will be the spring, so I can get closer to 200 miles, and then of course when it gets over 70 degrees it'll be the full range, the 238 miles or plus. It just amazes me that you can do this. And I'm as if you look at my other projects I have solar systems, wind generations. I'm very much into what the Israeli, the electric Israeli, does with his one car at a time, and kind of very glad that I've kind of switched my two cars. I used to be in love diesels. I still do, but I just don't want to buy fuel anymore. And that's kind of after having the vote and realizing what it was like driving on electric. It's really hard to go back to gasoline or diesel powered vehicles. Just thought I'd give you this update on winter driving, and don't expect it to go far if you live in these cold conditions.